Hey everybody, can you believe it's the 20th of November already for 2009? Just what now? 6 days away from Thanksgiving? You gotta be kidding me. Here we are, the Parker and the Man page at yournews.com. Mark Wilson with your webcam. Another big college football weekend. In fact, the final one coming up for MSU and Michigan prior to any bowl action. We know State's going, maybe. And we don't know about Michigan yet, but we'll get to that in a second. First of all, this is all about the Lions and the Cleveland Browns. A little history on the series and on where these two teams stand right now, and it's not pretty. Game, of course, is blacked out at Ford Field. They weren't even close to getting this thing sold out. There's still like, I don't know, 7,000, 8,000 tickets. If you want to go, great sections available for the Sunday game, just which will be just 4 days away from Thanksgiving. It's the traditional, Detroit thing where they got to play a Sunday game, a Thursday game, and then again Sunday. So like 3 games in 13 days. But if my counting's correct, which I'm sure it isn't, but boy, this is the Cleveland Browns may actually be worse than the Lions. They've gone through a lot this year already. The trading of Braylon Edwards, their little general manager situation. I guess they fired the guy they just hired. You can read all about that though. Eric Mangini has not done wonders in Cleveland so far, and the Lerner family and the rest of the fans there. They already had a protest, just like we had the Millen Man March. They had a little dog pound. They got that dog pound. Whoop whoop. Thing in Cleveland, had a little protest in their last game. They lost on Monday Night Football to Baltimore at home, 16-0. They weren't even, they stunk. So maybe, I guess the sad part is one of these teams has to win. Maybe Jim Schwartz and the Lions, Matt Stafford, Calvin Johnson can find a way to eke one out against old Cleveland. These two franchises, but the two longest remaining franchises that have never seen the Super Bowl, well, other than viewing it or going to the game. But there you go, man. I mean, here we are, Lions and Browns. I should put a bag on my head for this thing. You can't see it anyhow if you're in the Lansing, Saginaw, Toledo, Detroit markets. It's just not available. So check that out. Also, yes, the college football weekend. We all know the task at hand, Michigan State and Penn State. That'll be the later game after Michigan and Ohio State, the big MSU-Penn State Land-Grant Trophy, and Michigan and Ohio State. Conjures up old Bob Ufer, the old announcer from Michigan. Right you are. Woody Hayes, Bo Schembechler. There you go. The ghosts are great. All that stuff. So Ohio State, Michigan. Rich Rodriguez has to win to be bowl eligible. I don't see it happening. Ohio State, Jim Tressel. He has 4 things, in my opinion, that he starts the season with. National championship, Big Ten championship, beat Michigan, and then the bowl game. So number 3 is up. They can't win the national title. They are going to the Rose Bowl for the first time in a bit of time. They've already won that. Now it's the Michigan game. So check that out on the Parker and the Man page. Also, Eastern Michigan is at Toledo. They have 2 more chances to win 1 game this year. They're 0-10. They got Toledo, which I don't think they'll win, and then they got the Akron Zips at Akron, and Akron's not very good. Otherwise, Ron English goes through a season, his season there at Eastern with nary a victory. So they're 0-10, man, and one of the worst in college football in total. Dan LeFevour, one of the best in college football, quarterback for Central Michigan. They're now 9-2, 7-0 in the conference. He was amazing against David Letterman's old school Ball State. Had a quarterback rating over 239, which is, stop it. This guy's heading to play on Sundays for some money. He's going to the NFL one day. So check out his day if you didn't see what he did against Ball State. The Silverdome sale was being held up. You might have heard that the auction went through, that a Canadian-based company bought it for about $583,000, which is about what this house is worth here. So I made a little funny about that. The Silverdome is the same as my home. Now, I do have a pool. The Dome don't have one, but, come on. But it's being held up by another company who says they actually made a bid for about $17 million back in 2008, and there's some racial discrimination going on here. So a judge, Oakland County District Judge, has held up the sale for the time being from that auction that was finished this week. And some sad news. Read about the condolences I send out to Chris Spielman, the former Lions linebacker, and his family on the death of Stefanie, his wife. For about 12 years, she fought valiantly against breast cancer. They raised a lot of money. She was heavily involved in research and trying to, break this insidious disease. Lance Armstrong, Archie Griffin, all sorts of athletes from all around the world commenting on the death of Stefanie. It was well documented here in Detroit. She was constantly on radio and television shows. She really was a valiant trooper, diagnosed 5 different times with different stages of the breast cancer and finally succumbed to it. She died at her home in Upper Arlington, Ohio. Of Chris, of course, now works for ESPN and does his own radio show in Columbus, where he was a star at Ohio State. And, of course, then played with the Lions for 10 years. We had them on our show a couple of times on the Parker and the Man radio show. So really my true and humblest condolences to the Spielmans, to Chris, and the 4 children on the death of Stefanie. She was 42. Just lost my neighbor, Dick Emerine, another great guy, to cancer. Now Stefanie Speilman. Been a tough week. So condolences to both those families. Anyhow, check it all out on the Parker and the Man page. Because of that, we're going to open up the e-bag next time we see you. We'll read your emails, your actual emails. But until then, read the piece. Have a good weekend. And there's a lot of football going on. We'll be back with you right here on yournews.com.